Okay, I need to banish some mind goblins. So this is an impromptu thing where I'm gonna talk about all of the things I need to talk about, all of the things I need to say, and then I'm never going to fucking talk about IDW Sonic the Hedgehog ever again. I'm never going to read it ever again. I'm never going to think about it ever again. I'm going to pretend that it doesn't exist. So spoilers, spoilers for what is going to be discussed during this video, I guess. I'm upset. You better not fuck up Sonic Frontiers, I swear to fucking God. So, issue number 50 of IDW Sonic the Hedgehog came out. And it was bad. And I mean, like, you knew it was gonna be bad. Because logistically, there was no possible way that this could have ever been good. Ever. Like, it just wasn't gonna work out no matter what. Like, it was a double-length issue, but even with 40 pages, like, there was just no way that this was gonna happen. Because you had 4 fucking storylines that you needed to juggle with this issue. You had Sonic and Tails versus Serge and Kit, which could have been an entire issue all by itself. Then you had Belle resolving her daddy issues, which is what issue 49 was all leading up to, and also Belle's entire story up until this point. You had Serge wanting to betray Starline and burn it all down. And then you had Starline versus Eggman. So you had 4 storylines. One of them was going to get shortchanged no matter what. There's just no way you're going to equally resolve all 4 of these storylines. And they didn't. In fact, one of those storylines just got completely fucking ignored. But to make up for it, another storyline was just cut in half and turned into 2 storylines. So you still had 4 storylines. It's just, it wasn't the 4 storylines I thought it was gonna be, because you constantly impress me with just how fucking terrible this writing is. Like, you like, do this huge marketing push for these new characters, Serge and Kit. And everyone likes them, even though no one's reading the comic, and I can tell they're not reading the comic based on the way that they're talking about the comic. And I read the comic. I read all 4 issues of Imposter Syndrome. And it was boring and nothing fucking happened in them. But I thought, okay, we're building to something. You know, it's a prelude to Serge and Kit fighting Sonic and Tails, and that should be cool. Metal might have got jobbed, but that fight between Serge and Kit and Sonic and Tails is gonna be cool, right? And then Serge is like, I'm gonna burn it all down. I'm gonna burn it all down. Like, if we don't have a past, they don't get to have a future. And then you just don't do, and then that doesn't go anywhere. You don't do anything with it. Nothing happens. Like, you just forgot to resolve that. You just didn't do it. So issue 50 just did not, straight up, did not resolve Serge wanting to betray Starline. They did not have any kind of closure to Starline kidnapped these kids and brainwashed them and fucked them up. And Serge is like, fuck you, if we don't have a past, you don't get to have a future, and was plotting to betray Starline and overthrow him and burn it all down. And then Starline is just killed off without Serge ever getting to interact with him during issue 50. Serge and Kit and Starline do not interact in the mainline issue. You had all of Imposter Syndrome building this up, and then just nothing happens with it. Starline trips and falls into a toilet and drowns to death, and that's it. Serge never gets closure now. Serge will never get closure on her relationship with Starline. She'll never, like, obviously they might do something where, like, she finds the hidden data files or something and finds out where she came from. But, like, the guy who kidnapped her and fucked up her life got killed while she wasn't even in the room. She never got to betray him. She never got to attempt to betray him. She never got closure on this guy who, like, fucked up her life. He was just killed off in a completely unrelated storyline. And he deserved it, by the way. I'm gonna get to that. So, like, Starline's dead, and it was done in such a masterful way where it needed to be clarified that he was dead in a fucking Discord post. In a Discord server. Because you sure wouldn't have figured that out based on reading the fucking comic. If you had read the comic, if you had only read the comic, no one would be saying, oh, Starline is dead. Because you killed him off by dropping rubble on him. AKA the same thing that happened to Serge. 5 pages removed, and she's not dead, and we know she's not dead. Like, you literally have Starline go, oh no, I lost the fight, woe is me. Rubble falls on him, and Belle goes, oh shit, he dead. Then, you have Serge lose the fight, and she goes, woe is me, I lost the fight. Then rubble falls on her, and Sonic goes, nobody could have survived that. Which is basically erecting a giant neon sign that says, she's coming back. And, like, that's obvious, and we already knew that Serge was alive, because we have previews of issue 53 where Serge is gonna be in it. So we know Serge is alive. So no one would say, oh, Starline's dead, because Serge isn't dead, and the same fucking thing happened to her. So Ian Flynn had to clarify in a Discord server, and then later his podcast, no, Starline's dead, he's capital D dead. Homie is dead. And he had it coming. And it's like, you're a bad writer. You're a bad writer. You had rocks fall on this character and killed him, and then had rocks fall on another character and she lived. And the character who died is a character who was buried under an avalanche, and he survived that. It's like having Superman get shot with a gun and the gun just bounces off of him. The bullet just bounces off of him, because obviously. And then, 20 issues later, you have Superman get shot with a gun, and the bullet goes through his chest and, like, explodes his heart, and he just drops dead on the spot. And there's no explanation for why Superman was now killed via bullet gunshot wound. And then you had to clarify in a Discord server, yeah, he's totally dead. In my podcast, yeah, he's dead. He's pushing up daisies. You're a bad writer. And no one is upset that Starline didn't get a happy ending. No one was hoping the Duck Boy would sail off into the sunset happily ever after. No one is upset that that didn't happen. They're upset because you wrote a bad story. You wrote this character for 4 fucking years. We've been following Starline for 4 years. 4 years. He had, like, 2 miniseries dedicated to him. He had Bad Guys and Imposter Syndrome. So 8 comics, all dedicated just to Starline. You had us following this character for 4 years. I guess I was just kind of expecting it to be going somewhere. I guess I was just expecting it to be going somewhere. But no, he was just killed off by rocks falling on him after getting his ass kicked by Eggman. Because I guess he couldn't figure out what else he wanted to do with the character. And there's no other way to interpret this to interpret a character who we've been following in this shitty fucking comic for 4 goddamn years being killed off by having rubble fall on him. There's no other way to interpret that but the comic saying, you were stupid for caring. You cared about Starline? You cared about this character that the comic has centrally been based around for 4 years now. He's the reason Eggman came back after the stupid fucking Mr. Tinker thing. He's principally the reason the Metal Virus arc happened. He's the reason the Zeddy Hunt arc happened. He's the reason Serge and Kit exist. And then Eggman body slams him, and then rocks fall on him, and then he's dead, and that's it. How else am I supposed to feel? But that the comic is telling me, oh, you cared about this character? You were stupid. You were stupid for caring. And no, that does not mean I wanted him to have a happy ending. You can kill a character, an antagonist, a villain. Yes, that's a perfectly appropriate thing to do. But it needs to be satisfying. It needs to be a result of something happening. It needs to not leave another character's storyline completely unresolved because, again, what the fuck is Serge gonna do now? She's never gonna get closure now. Her entire character was wrapped up around Starline, and now that can literally never go anywhere because Starline's just dead. So issue 50 was bad, and we knew it would be bad. And then, because Ian Flynn is a complete and total goddamn moron, he proceeds to talk about it. Because we live in this era where people can't figure out that you need to shut the fuck up. You need to do a David Lynch and shut up. Why are you doing this J.K. Rowling bullshit of being like, oh, it turns out toilets never existed at Hogwarts before, 1987. And stupid shit like that. Why can't you just release a fucking storyline and shut the fuck up? Why can't you just release a story and let people read it and let the story speak for itself? Why do you need to constantly run your goddamn mouth and say stupid shit? Why do you need to ruin something that was already bad? So fucking Ian Flynn does this fucking podcast. And I was waiting on this one. I have to look for things sometimes, because people say, Ian Flynn said this, Ian Flynn said that, and his word just gets taken as fucking gospel. So I need to track down the source. I need to actually go I need to verify if this is a real thing that he actually said. That's the only reason I listen to this fucking podcast, is because I need to actually hear if this stupid fucking idiot actually fucking said the words, money doesn't exist in the Sonic universe. And he did. And that's the only reason I listen to this shit, is because people will just say, Ian Flynn said such and such, and then expect me to take it on gospel. I have to, give it the benefit of the doubt that of course Ian Flynn said something fucking stupid. And, I believe, and, sure, but I want to hear it from the horse's mouth. Ideally. I was actually waiting on this podcast because I needed to hear it from the horse's mouth, is Starline dead? Because the only confirmation that we had was some guy on Twitter saying, yeah, Ian Flynn said in a Discord server that Starline is dead. Didn't post screenshots to prove it. So who knows? He could have been lying. He could have been lying, right? And Ian Flynn can still be lying, but I needed to hear the podcast so I could hear Ian Flynn say the words, yes, Starline is dead. Because the comic was so badly written that it was not clear if we're supposed to think he's dead. And you would never think that he is dead if you just read the comic. And for all I know, Ian Flynn's lying. For all I know, he's lying. And he's saying Starline is dead, but Starline isn't actually dead. And Starline's gonna show up, and then Ian Flynn's gonna go, ha, you thought Starline was dead just because I said he was dead? Fooled ya, got him. And you know, what a fucking scumbag, am I right? But for now, Ian Flynn said in the fucking podcast that he's fucking dead. And he literally said, like, pushing up daisies, he's dead. I'm going to link to this podcast so you can actually listen to it. I'm not putting words in his mouth. I'm not taking things out of context. It's pretty obvious that he's pushing up daisies. Maybe his favorite flowers are forget-me-nots, so his legacy might outlive him. Wow, Ian, that is so mean. I know it is, and I know fans of Starline are a bit put out, and I do sympathize, I really do, but he is an irredeemably awful person. He deserved everything he got. You don't understand what people's complaints are. No one is upset that he's dead. No one is upset that he didn't have a happy ending. No one's saying he wasn't a bad guy. The problem is you wrote a bad story. The problem is you built up this character for 4 years and then had him killed off by rocks fell on him. The problem is Serge's entire fucking character revolves around this fucking guy, and now he's dead and she's never gonna get closure on that relationship. And it wasn't on purpose either. It's not like Game of fucking Thrones, where, like, there's all this drama about, like, what the fuck's the deal with Ashara Dane? And who's Jon's mom? And then Ned gets killed off, and we'll never get those answers. We're just never gonna get closure on what Ned's deal with Ashara Dane was, because he's dead now. And subversion of expectations, and that's reality. And, like, some stories can do that and get away with it. But this isn't it, Brew. This isn't it. This isn't the one. This isn't the story where you can just go, oh, well, Serge never got to confront the guy who ruined her life and get closure on that. That's reality. Sometimes you don't get closure. This isn't that story, bro. You just fucked up Serge's entire fucking story. Even if I didn't care about Starline, maybe I care about Serge. And I wanted her to get closure. And I guess I did kind of care about Starline. Like, you were building him up to, like, go crazy and, like, have a mental breakdown. And I thought maybe it would have been interesting to have a crazy Starline. That would have been fun. But no, now he's just dead. And, like, you're closing the door on all by killing a character. And this is why, generally speaking, I don't actually like when you kill off characters in stories. But that's a whole other thing. When you kill off a character, you are closing the door and saying there are no more stories that can ever be told with this character. And there were still stories that could have been told with Starline. There was still a story that was being told with Starline. And now that's never gonna get resolution. And it's like, what the fuck is the matter with you? You fucking hack. You absolute fraud. You think people are mad because they wanted him to have a happy ending? Oh, he was an awful person. He deserved what he got. Did I deserve to waste my fucking time reading Imposter Syndrome for 4 fucking months to have it go nowhere? And if it was just that, that's all I wanted. That's all I wanted out of this stupid fucking podcast was a confirmation that Ian Flynn really is that much of a hack, fraud, piece of shit writer. But then he goes further, saying, and I'm not putting words in his mouth. I'm not taking him out of context. I will link to the podcast in the description with a timestamp. You can listen to it yourself. These are the words that came out of his mouth. I'm not gonna omit anything. I'm not gonna change anything to make him sound bad. I'm not going to leave out context. I'm not gonna make him sound bad. These are the things he said. So, question from a fan. You have Sonic state his ideology to Serge about how he wants everyone to live their life as they should as long as they aren't using that freedom to cause harm, with him not wanting to rob people of that choice by killing or even imprisoning them. How did this ideology come to be? Is this ideology something Sega themselves told you, or was it more so you came to the conclusion that this has to be Sonic's ideology based on his portrayal within the games over the past 30 years, with Sega agreeing with that assessment, since they approved the speech you wrote for him? And how do you personally feel about Sega's whole ideology? This is okay. So that's a lot of damage control in that question, even. 'Cause they mentioned like Sega agreeing with that assessment. I like how they had to throw that in for damage control. So that's the question that Kyle reads. Flynn's response. This is basically the Sega standard, just more overtly stated. This is how Sonic is by Sega, and this is me basically spelling it out for anyone who hasn't figured it out by this point. And some people don't like it. And I understand. I expected that, and I get it. And that's because when putting it together and putting it out there, the thing is, he's not 100% right, and he's not 100% wrong either. It's not a black and white issue. That's the thing. If you allow people the freedom of choice, they are free to make the wrong choices, and that can come at the detriment of others. And where Sonic's heroism comes from is that he is dedicated to stopping when anyone goes too far in the wrong direction. He will give you as many chances as it takes for you to figure out, oh, wait, maybe I'm the bad guy. But he's still going to stop you every time you do something bad. Yeah, it might be sorry, didn't mean to destroy everything you've ever hoped and loved to achieve, dashed all your dreams and made a joke at your expense. But if you hadn't been trying to impose your will on everyone else, we wouldn't be here now, would we? It's kind of like, Serge is a sympathetic antagonist, to be sure. She got cast a really bad hand, and it's very hard to immediately shift gears from, being the victim to accepting help. But part of it, too, is she made a conscious effort to be justified in her own mind. Sonic came out and she said, yep, I'm willing to give... And he said, yep, I'm willing to give you a second chance. Doesn't matter if you hit me in the face. Doesn't matter that you choke slammed me about a mile at 60K and threw me into an iron bar. Things happen. We can start over. And she, monologued until she had rationalized herself into being, yes, I'm going to murder you because I'm totally justified in my own mind. And so, all right, that's your choice. I gave you that choice, and now you're going to try to murder me, and we're not going to let that happen. So yeah, his point of view is very simple and idealized, but it's also a children's fantasy. We're not going to be able to answer these high-level moral questions that humanity has been grappling with since we had an understanding of morality to begin with. In a Sonic book, this is introductory level. If you're in your 20s or 30s or 40s and you don't find this surface level approach fully satisfying, go read adult material. Go read stuff that does delve into that and does try to tackle it, does something smarter. This is not something smarter. Unfortunately, the Sonic franchise has not really grown up with us older folks. It's okay to have entry-level ideas to larger concepts. It's okay to introduce larger, broader approaches to these ideas without solutions, so that kids can teethe on these themselves and then move on to deeper, harder-hitting stuff. Once again, I have linked to the podcast with timestamps. This is what he said. I'm not summarizing. I'm not oversimplifying to make him sound bad. He literally said with his own mouth, if you're in your 20s or 30s or 40s and you don't find this surface level approach fully satisfying, go read adult material. Go read stuff that does delve into that. Go read something else. It's for kids. Go read something for adults. And just to be 100% fair, because even after reading off all of that, I know someone is still gonna be like, he didn't say it's just for kids. I know someone's gonna fucking say that. So I will continue. Kyle proceeds to say, not Ian Flynn, Kyle, I got one in the chat here that I like. And then he reads what the chat message is. So this isn't even Kyle, this is the chat message. Let's turn brain off and enjoy technicolored furries. So that's Kyle reading the chat and saying, I like that. And then Flynn responds thusly. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that this is thoughtless. I'm not saying that I'm writing a stupid Sonic book before you throw out that bad faith take. I'm just saying don't take it that seriously either. Yes, you're not going to be getting super deep storytelling from Sonic necessarily. You can, but it's always kind of couched in this sort of, this is a bit higher level stuff. It's not really delving deep into things. So being for kids doesn't mean it has to be dumb, and it doesn't mean it is dumb, but it's, there's a different way of storytelling. So, okay. Being 100% fair, I'm not putting words in his mouth. He literally said, go read something else. And he's not, okay, because he's right. A bad faith take would be to say, oh, you're saying kids' stories can't tackle these more mature themes. You're saying kids' media can't delve into moral questions thoroughly. And he knows that that's wrong. And he says, before you take what I'm saying and make it something it's not, I'm not saying kids' media is dumb, it's dumb, and he's right. But he did say, the thing I wrote is dumb. He's not saying kids' media is dumb, he's just saying the thing that he wrote is dumb. Okay, there's like so many layers to how fucking stupid this is. There's so many layers to this. It's like an infinite onion, and it just gets more and more rotten the more layers you peel back. So first of all, Ian Flynn, you don't understand what people's fucking complaint is here. You don't understand what people's problem with what you've written is. People's problem is not that you're not exploring this moral question deeply enough. No one's upset that you're not doing Under the Red Hood and confronting Batman with why don't you kill the Joker. That's not the problem. The problem is, you're wrong. This isn't what Sonic is like in the games. You're wrong. Sega saying, okay, you can publish the comic, does not serve as a validation. It does not prove that this Sonic is the correct interpretation of Sonic. I'm not even going to get into the fact that Ian Flynn has talked about in podcasts before, and I know because I've had to fucking listen to them because people say he said shit, and I had to listen to it to see if he actually said it or not. I've heard Ian Flynn say a lot of fucking stupid things. Because his fucking psychotic fans keep saying he said things, and I need to verify. Because I can't live my life based on secondhand information. He has said that he has the most creative freedom with how he writes Sonic and Eggman specifically. He has said, like, characters like Shadow and General, he gets the most feedback about. Comparatively, he has more freedom with Sonic and Eggman. So he's basically said, as long as he's not having Sonic, like, smoke blunts and cap people in the face with a Glock, he can basically do whatever he wants with Sonic, and Sega doesn't really care that much. So Sega saying, okay, you're allowed to have this in the comic, is not confirmation that this is a correct portrayal of Sonic. And even putting that aside, like, approval of God, or whatever you want to say that qualifies as, this is not the Sonic that exists in the games. The Sonic in the games doesn't act like this. Sonic in the games has killed people. He has killed the Bio-Lizard. Don't at me with this. Just because the Bio-Lizard can't talk doesn't mean it wasn't sentient. It was the prototype for the ultimate life form. It was the prototype for Shadow. Chaos couldn't talk. We all accept that Chaos is sapient. Why would we assume that the Bio-Lizard is not sapient? It had enough presence of mind to understand that the Ark had stopped in its collision course for Earth, and then used Chaos Control to teleport itself into the Eclipse Cannon to start dragging itself and the Ark down to crash into Earth to fulfill Gerald's final wish for revenge. There's no reason to assume the Bio-Lizard was not sapient just because it couldn't talk. So Sonic and Shadow killed the Bio-Lizard. Death number 1. Sonic kills Emerald in Sonic Battle. Emerald absorbed all this power. Sonic fought him, and Emerald died as a result of Sonic fighting him. Death number 2. He felt really bad about that one fucking too. He killed Emerald. Death number 3, Eraser Jin from Sonic and the Secret Rings. He traps Eraser Jin inside the magic lamp, and then chucks the magic lamp into a fucking volcano. That fucker is dead. And then there's King Arthur, who was a figment, was a manifestation, but Sonic didn't know that. He still cleaved the fucker in half, thinking that it was real. That's still attempted murder. And then I would point out that just because someone Sonic was fighting happened to survive, that doesn't mean that Sonic deliberately spared them. He launched himself into Chaos's brain at supersonic speeds like 8 fucking times. Chaos happened to survive, but that doesn't mean Sonic was pulling his punches to deliberately spare his life. And technically all Tails says is Supersonic neutralized it, so you could easily interpret that as Sonic fucking lobotomized this dude. There's the final boss with Merlina, where you're gonna tell me this was a non-fatal sword slash? Just because she survived doesn't mean that Sonic I pressed left trigger instead of right trigger, so it was a non-fatal finishing attack. Fuck you, she could have died. Just, you're interpreting the final boss being alive after the final boss and before the credits roll as Sonic making a deliberate choice to spare their life, and that's stupid. And this is a personal one, but I'm pretty sure the Deadly Six are fucking dead. Except for Zavok, I'm pretty sure Sonic fucking killed these guys. I'm pretty sure they're dead. If you want to prove that they're not dead, show me a game where they're still alive. A canon one. Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games isn't fucking canon, it's a crossover. That's not real. If the Zeddy want to show back up in a future game and prove me wrong, fine. But all I've seen is Zavok. I'm pretty sure the rest of these guys are fucking dead. I'm just saying. So, like, no. Sonic is not a Silver Age fucking comic book hero who deliberately chooses to never kill anyone and to always let his enemies go. That is not reality. That is not the Sonic that exists in the video games. You are wrong. Play the video games. And that's not even getting into Eggman. In the fucking, at the end of the Metal Virus arc where he just lets fucking Eggman go. Sonic, from game 1, is like negligent to the point of attempted homicide with Eggman's life. From game 1, Eggman tries to fly away, and you can bop the Eggmobile and send it crashing down in flames. Yuji Naka didn't have to program that in there. He did. He didn't have to program it so that you jumping into the Eggmobile as Eggman is flying away after the final boss of Sonic 1 causes him to explode. But he did. Sonic CD. The bad ending has Eggman flying away, and Sonic throws a fucking rock at him to blow him out of the sky. Sonic Adventure. Tails is like, all's well that ends well, right? And then where's Sonic? He's chasing Eggman down. Sonic sees that Eggman is alive and is flying away, and Sonic immediately goes, gonna chase that fucker. Gonna hunt that fucker down. In Sonic Colors, Sonic gets, destroys the final boss of, Eggman's final Wisp robot, and Eggman gets sucked into a black hole, and Sonic don't give a fuck. Sonic Generations, Sonic and Classic Sonic trap Eggman into a dimension outside of time and space, don't give a fuck. Sonic Lost World, Eggman tries to fly away on his jetpack, and Sonic reveals, I stole the exhaust nozzle of your jetpack and disabled it, causing Eggman to fall to his death. Just because Eggman survived doesn't mean that this wasn't negligent homicide. Like, yeah, Eggman lived. Fuck you. He stole the fucker's jetpack nozzle and sent him falling hundreds of stories. Fuck you. And that's not even getting into Sonic Forces, which has them defeats Eggman's final thing. And there's not even like a post-credits coda showing that Eggman even survived. Like, fuck off. Sonic doesn't spare his enemies' lives. He fights them. And then maybe they live, maybe they die. If he dies, he dies. Like, Sonic's not the Punisher, obviously, but he's not Spider-Man either. He's not pulling his punches. This philosophy that you're inventing, that Sonic always spares his enemies and always lets them go, simply does not exist in the source material. This is not something that game Sonic does. So, problem the first. Like, this is not an authentic depiction of Sonic the Hedgehog. The fact that Sega is apathetic to this portrayal doesn't fucking matter. This is not the Sonic that exists in the games. And you know what? That's another thing. How about the movie? How about Movie Sonic? Sega signed off on Movie Sonic. How come Sega signing off on this fucking comic proves that it's valid, this is what Sega wants? But Sega saying Sonic literally drops Jim Carrey to his death and doesn't fucking care that he's, like, that is a lethal fall from that death egg, okay? Fuck you. That is not Sonic sparing Jim Carrey and letting him go. That is a lethal height. And, like, obviously he didn't die because Eggman is a fucking sturdy motherfucker. That doesn't change the fact that is Sonic knocking the thing over and sending him careening to his death. Sega signed off on that. Sega don't fucking care. Sega don't care. That doesn't mean shit. This is not Sonic. You're wrong. So, issue the first, number 1. Number 2, continued problem. Sonic is an asshole. Sonic in this comic is a fucking hypocrite. He's full of shit. He doesn't walk the walk. He talks the talk. He does not walk the walk. That's the real fucking problem here. Okay, it's not... Okay, we can all ignore the fact that Ian Flynn thinks this is Sonic in the games. You're dumb. You're wrong. Shut up. But, okay, let's okay, Grandpa Ian Flynn, sit down and listen to your soap operas. The adults are talking here. So, what Ian Flynn's fans will say, then, is, but he's not Sonic from the games. It's Ian Flynn's take on Sonic. It's a different interpretation of the character. And okay, this isn't game Sonic. Fine. This Sonic is a fucking piece of shit. This Sonic is a hypocrite. This Sonic is not compassionate. This Sonic is an idiot. This Sonic is like totalitarian almost, because he literally, like, I would, from the very beginning, I would have to go back through so much of this fucking comic in order to dissect what a piece of fucking shit this version of Sonic is. Like, all the way back to issue, like, 6, where he's fighting Shadow, and Shadow's like, we gotta kill Eggman. I don't care that he's got amnesia, we gotta kill him. And, like, first of all, I don't think that that's an authentic portrayal of Shadow, but getting into how Shadow has been butt-fucked by this comic would be an entire other fucking 3-hour video by itself. So whatever, we're gonna let that one go. And Sonic's like, we can't kill him, which is actually a fair position to take. But his argument for convincing Shadow, no, we can't kill Mr. Tinker, is... yeah, well, Shadow's like, he tried to destroy the world. Doesn't matter that he can't remember. Gotta kill him. And Sonic's like, yeah, well, you tried to destroy the world once too. Should I take you out along with Eggman? While, like, smirking. Like, ha, got ya. Got him. That's not compassion. That's not understanding. That's taking Shadow's pain and grief and baggage and weaponizing it against him. That's saying something that he knows will hurt Shadow with the purpose of hurting Shadow. All Sonic wanted to do was win the argument, and he didn't care about how much pain he had to cause Shadow in order to do so. That's not compassionate. That's not my principles. That's gaslighting your friend in order to win an argument. That's fucked up. But also, that's not something that game Sonic would ever do. Sonic, in the games, is very compassionate and understands that people have pain and tries to help them move on from that pain. When Shadow, in the games, is like, I'm a weapon built for destruction, I don't have a heart because I'm a test tube baby, Sonic goes, dude, come on, you saved the world. Of course you have a heart. He literally says the exact fucking opposite thing. Sonic in the comic is like, you tried to destroy the world once, should I kill you too? Sonic in the games says, you saved the world, Shadow, you're a hero, of course you have a heart. Like, from issue number 6, this Sonic is a bad person. And it just gets worse and worse. There's, like, after the Metal Sonic, not Metal Virus, but the Metal Sonic fight, the Metal Sonic arc, he is like, well, we gotta let Metal Sonic go. We gotta let him make his own choices. Do you not remember the part where Metal Sonic said, I will burn this world down and sift through the ashes to find Eggman? Do you not remember that? 'Cause you beating him up doesn't change the fact that that's what he wants to do. You beat Metal Sonic in a boss fight. That doesn't change anything. Metal Sonic still wants to find Eggman. You idiot. And then later, here's the hypocrisy. Here's the hypocrisy of it. Later, during the Metal Virus arc, Metal Sonic's like, what's up? I'm Metal Sonic. And everyone's like, we know you are. And you're beautiful, and we're all happy to see you. And Sonic goes, you just had to go back to him, didn't you? You couldn't be a good robot like Omega and Gemerald. You had to go back to him. I gave you the choice to be free, and you made the wrong choice. You don't get both. You don't get to have both. You don't get to go, I want everyone to have the freedom to do whatever they want, and you made the wrong choice. You don't get to say that you think everyone should have freedom to do whatever they want, and then also think that there are wrong choices. You fucking idiot. Because now you're just lying. You're a hypocrite. You're saying, oh, you have the choice to do whatever you want, but really what you're saying is, I want you to do what I think you should do. And if you don't do it, I condemn you and I'm going to punish you. That's not real. That's not real freedom. That's not a real choice. You're saying you have the freedom to choose to do what I say you should do. That's really what this Sonic's philosophy is. That's really what his actions, what his behavior proves. There's another fucking argument he has with one of his friends. This Sonic treats his friends like shit, by the way. Where he's talking to Espio, and Espio's like, hey, my two best friends in the entire world are fucking dead, and it's all because we didn't kill Mr. Tinker. And obviously, Espio's speaking from a place of pain. Obviously, Espio is suffering, and he's lashing out in his grief. And that's not okay. You don't get to hurt people just because you're in pain. But it is understandable. It's a perfectly human mistake to make. Anyone with compassion would have heard the things Espio was saying and understood where this was coming from and said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that this has happened, and I'm sorry that you feel that way. I'm sorry for any amount of blame or responsibility I have in what happened. I'm going to work tirelessly and selflessly in order to do anything that is possible to undo this and set things right. And again, obviously Espio didn't mean that, because not in a million years would he have ever killed Mr. Tinker in cold blood. He's lashing out in grief. And Espio would have apologized for this. He would have said, like, I know it's not your fault. I'm just hurting right now, and I'm sorry. Video game Sonic, the Sonic from the games, would have said, like, I own my choices, and I own the consequences of those choices, and I'm going to do everything I can to make this right, Espio. Is that what this comic Sonic does? No. He starts arguing with Espio and saying, oh, should we just kill everybody? We can't just kill everybody. Again, just like with Shadow, the thing Sonic prioritizes is not compassion for his friend's pain, not taking responsibility for his actions. It's winning an argument. It's deflecting blame. It's saying I'm not responsible for these consequences. Because that's Sonic thinks everyone's got to do whatever I say, and if you don't do what I say, then you made the wrong choice, and I am not responsible for the consequences of any choice I make. It's not my fault it turned out this way. I got principles. And, that's the problem with this Sonic. His actions and the way he treats others do not match what he claims his belief value system is. He claims to Serge, oh, everyone's gotta be able to run free. I'm not gonna kill anyone. I'm not gonna imprison anyone. Everyone's gotta have freedom. But what does he do? He gaslights and argues with his friends so that he can never be told he's wrong. He absolves himself of responsibility for any negative consequences of any choice he ever makes. He refuses to take responsibility for anything. And if anyone makes a choice he does not approve of, he says, "You're wrong. I'm gonna beat you up." Sonic is a hypocrite. This version of Sonic is a hypocrite. He's not compassionate. He doesn't practice what he preaches. He thinks everyone needs to live the way he thinks they should live. And it's my way or the highway. And that's not Sonic. And that's not a good person. And that's not, you wrote the character saying words and then wrote the character doing things that don't match those words. That's the problem, Ian. That's the problem, is you wrote a fucking bad character. You wrote a character who the story is telling us is good and noble and virtuous and correct. But if you actually think about anything that he does or says, you realize he's actually a huge fucking asshole. And that's not what the character from the video games is. Fucking Serge is being like, oh, my tragic backstory, my stupid crybaby backstory, and Sonic literally spits it in her face and says, your pain isn't special. That's not Sonic. The Sonic I know, in Sonic Rush, fought Blaze, and once they calmed down, because that is Sonic's character, he will fight you. He will let you get it out of your system. He will throw down first. He's not this character, and that's another reason his, the way he gaslighted Shadow is so fucked up. Because that's not Sonic. Sonic's not this Machiavellian character. He will fight a motherfucker. He will show someone what happens when you fuck around and find out, right? He'll fight you, and then once you've gotten it out of your system, then he says to Blaze, gee, you sure got a lot of issues, but it looks like she's had a rough life, so I'm gonna take it easier on her. And he tells her, his dialogue with Blaze is 8 sentences long. It's 4 sentences long, and the longest sentence doesn't exceed 8 words. And he just tells her, look, you don't gotta carry the whole world on your fucking shoulders. Sometimes you can ask for help. And, that's relevant to Blaze's problem, right? But, that's what Sonic does. He empathizes. He understands, okay, you got problems. And then he's really a man of few words. In any given story. In Sonic 06, he tells Elise, if you've got time to worry, then run. In Sonic and the Black Knight, he tells Merlina, every world has its end, and that's sad, but you gotta live to the fullest extent with the life that you got. Like, he's pretty short. He's pretty terse with his life advice. But it's always insightful, and it's always something that cuts right to the heart of the matter. And it's more about showing and living by example than lecturing and moralizing and standing on a rock while God beams shine down on him from above while he has a 5 fucking paragraph monologue about, like, this is the way I think people should be, and you gotta do what I say you should do. And then he laughs in Serge's fucking face and says, your pain isn't special. That's not Sonic. The Sonic I know would have had Serge, like, start some shit, and she has her little rant, and Sonic goes, okay, you're clearly not someone who wants to listen to reason right now. You want to fight? I'll give you a fight. And then they would fight. And maybe he would enjoy it. Maybe he would have fun fighting someone who's just as fast and just as strong as he is. Because that's in his character, and that's fine. And then, after the fight's over, he would say, look, obviously you're in pain, and that pain is somehow wrapped up in something to do with me. So hey, if you think killing me will make that pain go away, if you think killing me will make you happy, then take your shot. But if you think killing me won't make you feel any better, if you think killing me isn't going to fix anything for you, then maybe let's try something else instead. And, maybe he wouldn't say exactly that. Maybe he would use different words. Maybe he would say something completely different. But he wouldn't say, do what I say you should do, or else I'll beat you up. He wouldn't say, I've fought people like you before, cry about it. He wouldn't say, so I guess you weren't listening. My name's Sonic the Hedgehog. He wouldn't say, that's the problem with freedom, is you can't stop people from making the wrong choices. And you know what? Maybe this version of Sonic would say all that. Maybe this version of Sonic, who is a hypocrite, who treats his friends like garbage, who doesn't behave according to what he says his moral values are. He just says, I'm a good person, so that he'll be perceived as a good person, but doesn't actually back it up. Maybe that is perfectly fucking consistent for this version of the character. And well, you got me there. But this version of the character is a terrible person. And I want Serge to beat him up. You fucked up. I'm rooting for Serge. Serge is also a cunt, but but if it's between these two assholes, I'd rather see her beat the shit out of this fucking guy, take your fucking principles and shove them up your ass. I'm rooting for her at this rate. Like, oh my god, you don't get what people's problem is. And your response to people saying there's a problem is to completely disregard what the problem is. You don't get it. The problem is this Sonic is not the game Sonic, and this Sonic is an asshole. And your response to people criticizing that is, go read something else. Go read something else. It's a dumb kid's comic. It's a okay, that's me being bad faith. It's a simple kid's story that isn't gonna explore issues that it raises in depth. It's easy to say that. I mean, like, what the fuck? That's, like, so insane to me. But, okay, I can't criticize your comic because it's a kid's comic, and if you want something with more meat on its bones, go read something else. Okay. Interesting that you weren't saying that back when people were saying, oh, the Metal Virus story arc is so dark and gritty and mature. Oh, it's just a simple kids comic. This comic about a woman getting infected with a zombie virus and Vector needing to trap her between cars so that she will die alone, essentially, in order to make sure no one else is infected by her. Oh, this simple little kids comic that isn't gonna explore these moral complexities in depth, where Sonic is constantly getting into arguments with his friends about how him showing mercy on someone had unintentional consequences that resulted in bad things happening for a lot of other people. Oh, this simple little children's storybook where a small fucking 6-year-old fucking girl is traumatized by watching her mother die right in front of her eyes and then also slowly dies due to an infection of a virulent plague. Oh, simple little kid's story. You're not allowed to take it seriously. Stop taking it so seriously. It's just a little kid's book. Funny that that only applies when people are criticizing you. Funny that it's only a simple kid's comic that you shouldn't take too seriously when people are pointing out that it's bad and you fucked up. When it's doing a zombie apocalypse storyline where everything just gets worse and worse and worse and worse, and characters suffer and struggle and agonize and die one by one, then it's a mature storyline and we're elevating this to something that adults can enjoy. Then it's lavish with the praise of our Lord and Savior, who Sega needs to hire and have him write all the games from now on. Funny that it's only a simple, shitty little kids comic when it's bad, and when it's good, suddenly that doesn't apply. Suddenly it's not good for a kids comic, is it? That's it. I'm never gonna read another issue of IDW Sonic ever again. I'm never going to talk about this comic ever again. I don't want to think about this comic ever again. I'm done. You told me, Ian Flynn, you said the words to me. If you're in your 20s or 30s or 40s and you don't find this surface level approach satisfying, go read adult material. So, okay. I'll go read something else. Because I'm never fucking reading this comic ever again.